Hello guys and gals, back for another exciting video today on PKF. On another freezing day in Michigan. We got absolutely dumped on with snow last night, about a foot, which normally would suck. But things are made better because today we are sat in my 2020 Land Rover Defender that I'm going to be going over with and talking to you guys about today. So let's step out, go over the spec, and sort of talk about what this vehicle is all about. Go ahead and stepping out here. Oh, yeah, it's a doozy out here. You can see absolutely really deep. Just not really the most pleasant thing, but what a better vehicle to have in terrain like this than the 2020 Land Rover Defender. Before I talk about the individual spec of this vehicle, I kind of want to talk about sort of the lineup in general and what Land Rover decided to do, introducing this vehicle back into the US shores. You know, in the 90s, we had the Defender 90 V8, and there were some other variants of the Defender that trickled over here in the, I want to say, mid 80s, the sort of diesel variants and so on, very low powered, no luxury, really just farm utility vehicle. That's it. Uncomfortable, no refinement. Yeah, this is way different. This is much more akin to that of a British G-Wagon, for example, is how I like to refer it. Budget G-Wagon, as it were. But let's talk about a little bit about what the product offering gives us here in the US. So there are two different main flavors for the Defender. There's the 90 and the 110. And just from the outset, 90 and the 110 don't actually stand for, per se, what the length of the vehicle is. You know, 90, 110 millimeters. But rather just sort of stand for the two-door and four-door flavors. And that's really kind of where it ends in terms of the 90 and 110 name. Now, the 90 and the 110 are further separated by individual trim levels. You have your basic 90, your basic 110, just Defender. And what you have there is cloth seats. Really, you get the off-road cameras and some of the nice sort of off-road trick, but you're not going to get your in-depth suite of off-road luxury features like the terrain response 2 that you would get in the higher trim levels like this. From there, you move up to the S and you're going to get some pseudo cloth, little pieces of leather here and there. Just a little bit of a step up. I think the standard wheel is a little bit nicer in the S. And from there, there's the SE. This is the HSE. And then there's the first edition. So this is pretty similar to the first edition. I'll talk about why I went with this and not the first edition. The first edition, like this vehicle here, came in Indus Silver. This is also Indus Silver. But it had silver wheels to match. And these are actually these gray machined wheels that you can see here. And I really didn't like the way that the silver wheels paired with the silver. It was just too much silver. I thought the wheels looked a lot cheaper, and I wanted to get something that looked a little bit more rugged, and that's why I went with that dark finish. Above the first edition in the HSE here is the X. X will have a black accented hood, which just doesn't have. This has these sort of knurled black accents here, but you have this whole black contrast on the X model. And the X model is really the top trim, very Range Rover-esque on the inside. Really a really nice place to be. Comes in this trim exclusive tan black upholstery, which looks really good. It's Windsor leather like that you would see in a high-end Range Rover product. It's a very nice place to be. This vehicle specifically, now this one's stickered out, I believe, at about $78,000. Talk a little bit about what this has on it. This is the black pack. You can see the black lettering here. I think it looks really good against the silver. Talked about the 18-inch gray machine wheels here. This does have the off-road pack. Now, these aren't mud terrains per se like you would see on a customized Jeep, for example. But I think they really look good nonetheless. And they give you a lot of capability in the deep snow. You can see how deep it is. The roads over there hasn't really been plowed. But you can see my track here. I mean, it's really deep. And I just had this in its basic comfort mode setting. And it was no challenge here for the Defender. It's crazy. It just plowed through the snow like you were on regular tarmac. It's just amazing vehicle. Under the back here, you can see there's mud flaps here, and this is part of the country pack. So on top of those confusing trim levels I already talked to you about, there are also packs that are available for each trim level. There's also the Explorer pack, which will give you sort of a goofy side box. I believe it's actually on the passenger side, but same sort of, it's mounted on the window square here for you to put things like wet boots in. It's not really big enough to put in, you know, camping tools and things like that, so I would skip that. But the country pack also gives you, which I don't have installed right now, so I can't show you. It gives you a cargo divider, a pet divider for your dog. This is just sort of a cover, you know, that you can put in the trunk to cover up valuables and things like that. I have that taken down right now because it kind of rattles when it drives, which is a little irritating. But normally you could actually get a metal gated divider right here to keep those mingling dogs out of the back, or out of your nice leather. Just to continue talking about the spec of this vehicle, in addition to the various trim levels in the packs that I discussed, there are actually 2 engine options that are available in the United States at this time, and they're designated by P300 and P400 on the back. This is the P400, and what that means is it's a straight 6 that is turbocharged, and there's also the 48-volt alternator, and that sort of gives you a little bit of relief from the lag that you would normally experience from just a standalone turbo motor. And it really does have some pep to it. It's really a great motor. I spoke about it in my Jaguar video. It's also paired to the 8-speed ZF automatic, which is just a great transmission. All right, now let's talk about a little bit of the interior features. So this has the Meridian surround system that you would see in a more high-end Range Rover product. It's great. It's a really, really nice sound system, crisp audio. There's a subwoofer in the back, really sounds great. Moving around to the upholstery, this is acorn leather. It's called the color. You can see it's perforated here. Heated and cooled seats on the HSE, which is awesome. It's very nicely trimmed with the Windsor leather. Same type of trim pattern that you would see on the full-size Range Rover. Really a far cry from the farmer's vehicle of old. Let's fire it up. You have your push button start here. Here she goes. Nice leather wrap steering wheel here. You have your heated function here. Digital dash here with the 2 cluster display. You can actually change that here, and it's cool. This sort of multi-function tool here. You can see that the icons actually change. Here you can go through your menu bar. You have your things like your tire information. You have your audio source, your music, trip bank, etc. Off-road information. It's pretty cool. It can actually show you sort of the incline or decline that you're on when you're traveling around off-road, which is a really cool feature. I'll get into some of that in a few minutes. But it's very configurable. I can also change, I can put map up here. I can put the music I'm listening to, my trip summary, my 4x4 info, so I can look at the amount of grip that each tire is getting when I'm off-road and so on. So it's pretty neat. Let's go over to the off-road, and this is where it really gets exciting. So you can go in 4x4i here, which is sort of your main off-road menu. Very, very, very cool. So you can see actually the approach and departure angles of the vehicle. You can see I have the diff lock off right now. Really, really awesome features that they put in here. You could really just play around with this all day, like a child, which I basically am. So we can also go into wade sensing. Oh my God, it thinks I'm in wire. Crucial wade alert. No, I'm in snow. Wading in ice may cause damage. I don't think so. This brings me to the different modes. So I talked about these a little bit in the Jaguar. These are far above and beyond that. So the way that you do your drive select modes is you go into this menu here, and these are multi-configurable buttons. So as you can see, the climate control is up. I can use these for my heated seats or my cooled seats. You can see that over here on the passenger side, but also when you're not doing your climate control, you can click this little vehicle icon here, and up comes this toggle. Now you can see up here, you can do your drive select. So again, these menus are coming up here, bear with me. So you have Eco, you have comfort. You have grass, gravel, snow, mud, ruts, sand, rock crawl, wade. Then you can also configure your own to your own personal preferences, which is really, really cool. I guess I'll leave it in snow since that's where we are. Yeah, so it's much more configurable than that of the Jaguar, as it should be for a proper off-road vehicle. It individually adjusts your throttle response, transmission, drivetrain, etc. when you're going through these various environments, and it is just a force to be reckoned with off-road. A couple more features worth talking about. So you can actually raise and lower your ride height. So right now I'm actually in off-road mode. I can put this down into normal and put it into access, but I actually don't want to do that because I'm in pretty deep snow right now, so I'm not going to do it and mess around with it. Heated windshield, general climate control. It's very hill descents up here, I'm sorry. And this is sort of your 4x4 low hot switch. All other floor mats down here, but there's actually drain plugs in the floor. If you're really pushing this car and taking it through deep rivers, lakes, etc., and standing water gets in the interior vehicle, you can actually drain the water out, which is a very, very cool feature. All right, so you shouldn't be driving around with a camera, and I'm not going to do that today, but I am in sort of a secluded off-road space, so I am going to show you a little bit of what this vehicle is able to do. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, I'm actually going to take it off of the grass, gravel, snow. So let's go right here. Let's go over to comfort. Let's give it a shot. Put it into drive. There she goes. Just now locked. You can see it's automatically locking and unlocking, which is really cool when you have it in the auto comfort mode. Yeah, look at this. No problem at all. This is probably a foot to a foot and a half that is accumulated here over the last 2 or 3 weeks, in addition to that huge snowfall last night. Here's a nice hill. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Let's go ahead and turn it around. You can see it monitoring here the traction. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. See if I can show you too. I want to show you the off-road cameras. See if I can get into that. Yeah, so this is another really, really cool feature. You have your on-road and off-road cameras. So if we go to on-road here, sorry, it's a little salty. This is sort of your top view when you're going into a parking space. And here's your off-road, and it shows you the front view, so you avoid bashing into rocks and really screwing up the front face of your car, which is really, really cool. You can see here on the left, this is the driver's side fender. Let me just move it along here a little bit. You can see there's the tire turning. So if I were in a really, really tight space, doing my rock crawling and whatnot, or doing what I'm doing now in the deep snow, really helps guide you along. It's a really, really cool feature. Go ahead and park that up here. But I hope you enjoyed the video on the 2020 Defender. Just in summary, awesome, everyday usable vehicle. Most of these you're probably going to see at the country clubs and in the malls. I did do a little bit of light off-roading in the snow. Probably still not really putting this thing to use. This is probably showcasing 5% of what the vehicle can actually do, but it's really awesome to do. I'm hoping to take this thing to the sand dunes up north this summer to show you guys what it can really do. So again, it's packed with features. You have that pungent powertrain from the P400 motor, that straight 6 with the hybrid assist and that 48 volt supercharger. It really gets you on the move. A lot of passing power on the freeway. Does not feel at all like a farm truck. It feels more like a Range Rover than it does a farm truck, and that's really a great thing. I think looks are subjective. This thing sort of got bad raps when it came out, saying it kind of looks like a Kia Soul or a Honda Pilot. I don't really think it does, but again, looks are subjective. I think it's really the capability that stands out, and really, I think it's a true testament to the Defender name. Let's put it that way.